Hello, everybody. So just came back from church, and I want to explain to you guys about what has happened at church today. So here it is. So anyway, before I went to church, I talked to God in prayer all weekend long since Friday. Sunday, well, that was Friday, but anyway, so I went to church today. Got there, and when I got there, I walked in the. They already started playing the music and all that. I went in the sanctuary. Not everybody, but there was some guys on the left, some guys on the right, and women and all that. The kids, they had their hands in the air. And guys, after they had their hands in the air, they're worshiping God, praising God. Everybody was shouting out to His name. All having a good time in worship, gospel music, whatever you want to call it, in the comments. So, some of you watching this may comment and all that. Some of you out there just got back from church and you're watching this. So, anyway, yeah. So, after that, guys, Pastor Craig was preaching the gospel, and he was preaching the gospel, guys. And it wasn't just Pastor Craig's message. It was the message from God to give it on to Pastor Craig, to give it to the church house, to give it to the world. Whether it's in real life, internet, whatever. And also, there were three girls who were right in front of me in the front row. Not the front row seat, because we were sitting in the back row. We were in the back row in the sanctuary. And the three girls on the left, the two black girls, one was white, the blonde was in the middle. And the girls were in the middle. One of them was on the phone, and I believe that maybe it was a distraction from the devil to try to get me to be distracted from the message that God had given to Pastor Craig about the Bible. But I wasn't distracted. I looked at them a little bit. I didn't look at them the whole time. I was looking a little bit, but then I looked at the screen, and Pastor Craig was on the screen, and I was watching. He was on the big screen. Pastor Craig, if you go to Life Church, you know what I'm talking about. He was on the big screen. He was preaching the gospel. And as he was preaching the gospel, I noticed not around the sanctuary, not everybody was paying attention. They were on their phone. Whether it's Facebook, Snapchat, TikTok, whatever it is, text messages, whatever. They were in the church house doing that. And not everybody was. And everybody else had their eyes on the screen, the big screen. And Pastor Craig was going on preaching the gospel. He didn't stop. He didn't stop the teaching. He was like, "Oh no, you can't be on your phone. You should not be doing that. You should be paying attention to the message from God." He didn't do that. He kept on preaching the gospel, because if you stop it, sermon, it's a distraction from the devil trying to get you away from God. But Pastor Craig he didn't stop it. He didn't give in to the temptation of the devil. He just kept preaching the gospel. So after that, get to the end, and Pastor Craig, he said, go and come to Jesus. Everyone has sinned and come short of the glory of God. So after the sermon, the message was over. Dan comes out on the stage. I think that's his name, Dan. Yeah, the guy with the glasses and the beard, and he comes on the stage and he says, if you want to give your life to Jesus Christ, raise your hand. Someone had their hand in the air. They raised their hand, and he said, he pointed at them and said, "Welcome to God's house," and all that. He didn't say those words, but he said, he pointed his finger out, and the person was saved. It was a girl who raised her hand, and that was it. Nobody else did. And then after that, everybody, it was over. He said, whoever finds God finds life and all that. And everybody got up and left, and it went home. That's how it goes every Sunday. But guys, may I remind you that you have God, you have the devil. And if you can glorify God, there's those who glorify God, those who glorify the devil. That's why it's many called, but few are chosen. And the whole point of this message is that this was not the message from Craig, it was the Pastor Craig, it was the message from God, given unto him to give to the world, the church, to the world, because the world needs to hear this. And also, speaking of the world, the Bible says in Romans chapter 12, verse 2, "Do not be conformed to this world, or the things of this world." And it goes on and on from there. But the whole point is don't be part of the world, don't be of the things in the world, the materialistic, man-made things and all that. All right, and it goes for all the things. And by many are called, but few are chosen. Many have been called by God, but they refuse to go through God, and they continue to sin on that. But very few will find it, and they turn to God. King David was one of them. Samson was one of them. Moses was really one of them. And Moses was the one who departed the Red Sea. Just remember that. And if you're not paying attention, I feel sorry for you.